I found out my girlfriend was sexting her manager while I was helping her mom move. She laughed when I caught her, said I was a joke. So I exposed her, not just to her boss, not just to her mother, but to everyone she cared about. And I'm not sorry. It started with something small. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Just little things. She got a new job at a local restaurant. Nothing fancy. She was a server. She seemed happy. I was proud, supportive. I even helped her prep for the interview. Bought her a pair of non-slip shoes. She laughed and said, I was acting like her manager. Funny how that word would come back later to haunt me. But a couple weeks into the job, she started changing. Her phone, which used to sit face up on the coffee table, was now always screen down. She'd jump when it buzzed, giggle while texting, and whenever I asked who it was, she'd say, just work stuff. I wanted to trust her. I told myself I was overthinking. But you know that feeling, when something just isn't right, that gut instinct, that whisper in the back of your mind, that says, check, just check. So one night, she was in the shower. Her phone lit up. A guy's name I didn't recognize. Not in her contacts with the preview hidden. Now, I'm not proud of what I did next, but I opened the phone. She hadn't changed her passcode. And what I found broke me. The thread was full of flirtatious messages, sexual compliments, talk about meeting up after work, explicit photos, and here's the kicker. They were sent during her shift. I scrolled up, and that's when I saw it. She called him babe. He called her sexy. This wasn't just playful work banter. This was full-blown cheating. The guy? One of her managers. She had been sleeping on my chest at night while dirty texting her boss during her breaks. I felt numb. I just sat there staring at the screen, not crying, not yelling, just stunned, silent. That's when I heard the water shut off. I didn't explode. I didn't throw her phone or confront her in a rage. I just waited. When she came out of the bathroom, towel around her shoulders, I said calmly, we need to talk. She saw her phone in my hand. Her face tightened. She knew. I asked her about the texts, the pictures, and at first she denied everything. Said it was just jokes, just banter, that it wasn't serious, that she didn't mean any of it. I remember her exact words. It was just texting. I never even touched him. I love you, she cried. Said she was scared. Said it was stupid, impulsive. That she wanted to fix things. She grabbed my hands. Told me she'd block him. Show me even. And she did. Right there on iMessage. Opened the thread. Tapped. Block this caller. And deleted the messages. See? It's over. And I wanted to believe her. I really did. Because when you love someone, you'll make excuses for them. You'll rewrite reality to fit the version of them you wish existed. But something in me still wasn't right. So the next day, I did something I never thought I'd do again. I checked her phone just once more. And that's when I saw it. Not only had she unblocked him, she texted him back the same night. She told him it was funny that I found out, that I was overreacting, that she'd hit him up when things settled down, that she was done playing girlfriend for someone who couldn't handle a little fun. She laughed about me, mocked me, said she could see the panic in my eyes and it made her feel powerful. She called me a doormat, an option, said I was acting like a child with a broken toy. I sat there, reading her words, and something inside me died. All the love, all the hope, turned to stone. That wasn't just cheating. That was humiliation. That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. She was just sorry she got caught. And if I was going to be a character in her little story, then I was going to be the one who changed the ending. I sat with the phone in my lap for a long time. The kind of long where the silence starts to hurt your ears. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't text her. I just stared. She called me a joke. Said I'd be gone soon. That she'd be texting this guy again once I was out of the picture. She thought I was weak, disposable, something she could walk over like the tile floor at that restaurant. That's when it hit me. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to make her regret ever thinking I was soft. And I knew exactly how to do it. Because here's what she forgot. She gave me access to everything. Her Instagram, her Snapchat, her iCloud backup. I helped her set them up. I knew the passwords. I even helped her reset one just 2 weeks earlier when she got locked out. So I got to work. I started by collecting everything. Screenshots, messages, images, dates. Organized them into folders. I labeled one for her boss, another for her mom, and the last one for him. That man she was flirting with, he wasn't just her manager. He had a kid, a co-parenting situation with another woman. And from what I'd gathered, she didn't like my ex very much. Oh, and her mom? I had been helping her move all week. Lifting boxes, renting a truck, sweating through my clothes to help this woman. Because she was my girlfriend's family. While her daughter was sneaking dirty texts to another man. At work, on shift, with customers around. So no, I didn't feel guilty. I opened Instagram, went to her story, posted every single screenshot with the caption, "If this is how you treat people who love you, good luck keeping friends." Same for Snapchat. Set the story to everyone. Then I DM'd her boss. Screenshots, timestamps. Just thought you should know what's going on during your restaurant hours. And then I sent the same to her mom. No caption, just the pictures. Let the evidence speak for itself. Finally, I sent it all to the guy. Told him I knew. Told him if he had a shred of decency, he'd stop playing dad and start acting like one. Then hit send. Sat back. Waited. Didn't take long. First came the silence. That eerie kind, where you know they've seen it. Instagram, viewed. Snapchat, opened. Her boss? Left me on. Seen. The other guy? Typing, then stopped. And then, the call. It was her. I didn't even recognize her voice at first. She was crying, stumbling through her words. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said. "I never thought you'd actually do something like this." And that right there, that sentence, "I never thought you'd actually do something like this," told me everything I needed to know. She didn't apologize for what she did. She was apologizing for getting exposed. I let her talk, let her ramble. She asked why I'd tell her mom, why I'd post it to her story, why I'd drag her into this mess. I said, "Because you made me a joke in your story, so I rewrote the ending." She told me I was cruel, said I'd ruined her life, that I was being dramatic. But the damage was done. Friends were texting her. Her coworkers were asking questions. Her reputation? Cracked wide open. She tried to guilt me, told me I was taking it too far, that she never actually slept with him. I laughed. You think that makes a difference? You don't need a hotel room to betray someone. You don't need physical contact to break trust. She broke us the second she hit send on those texts, and I told her that, told her I was done, that this wasn't revenge, this was exposure. I just showed the world who she really was. Then I hung up. After I hung up on her, the silence returned, but it wasn't peaceful. It was tense, like waiting for thunder after lightning. Her boss had seen the message. No response. Just the double-check mark that let me know it had been opened. I imagined what must have been going through her head. One of her employees, caught exchanging sexual texts with another manager. During work hours, no less. At best, professional embarrassment. At worst, a violation of workplace policy. But I wasn't done. I looked up the restaurant's ownership. It was part of a small local chain, maybe 4 or 5 locations total. I found the owner's name, email, and business profile in less than 10 minutes. And I sent him everything. Subject line: internal misconduct from restaurant management. Evidence attached. I included screenshots of the texts, timestamps, messages sent while on shift, the name of the manager she was texting, the date, the time, the proof, and I closed it with this. As a former partner of Erica, let's call her Erica, I felt obligated to share what was happening during business hours under your roof. If I were a customer, I'd want to know if my server and manager were busy sexting instead of serving food. Click. Send. Now it was out of my hands. A few days passed. No reply from the owner. No word from the boss. But I knew they saw it. And I wasn't expecting a thank you card. I was expecting discomfort, consequences, a spotlight where they didn't want one. Because even if they didn't fire her, they'd never look at her the same way again. And that was enough for me. But here's the twist. We live in an at-will employment state, which means legally they could fire her for anything, even just for the appearance of misconduct. But they didn't. She kept her job, at least for now. I was disappointed, sure. But imagine working shoulder to shoulder with someone who knows your dirty laundry, because it's their laundry too. That restaurant floor? No longer a workplace. Now it's a battlefield. And she walks it every shift. At this point, I thought the story was over. The texts were exposed. Her job was awkward. Her mom knew. And I was done talking to her. Or so I thought. But then, one night, couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to him. The guy she cheated with. The manager. Something about him didn't sit right with me. She used to say she didn't want to become a single mom because her own dad had cheated on her mom while she was pregnant. She said that like a mantra, like a wound she carried every day, like it was her reason for never letting that happen to her. And yet, here she was, being the other woman in someone else's family. So I did some digging. It wasn't hard. He had a public profile, tagged photos, birthday posts, a few smiling shots. And one of them showed him holding a little boy. I clicked through, found the woman tagged in the comments. Her name, her profile, her relationship to the child. She was the boy's mother. And she wasn't with him anymore, but they still co-parented. So I reached out. I introduced myself, told her I had some screenshots she probably hadn't seen, said I knew it was awkward, but if someone had done this to me, I'd want to know. She replied almost immediately. Her first words? Is her name Erica? I said yes. She said she already suspected something. That her ex, the same manager, had been texting my girlfriend for over a year. And she'd told him explicitly, don't hang out with anyone who disrespects the mother of your child. She even remembered meeting my ex once. Said she was rude, cold, passive-aggressive, but she had no idea they were still texting behind her back. Until now. And then she dropped this. You're not the only one she's done this with. He cheated on me with another girl from the same restaurant before we split. I sat there, jaw dropped. This wasn't just cheating. This was a network of manipulation, pattern, and suddenly everything made sense. My ex wasn't just careless. She was calculated, and for all her talk about hating cheaters, about how cheating destroyed her family, she had no problem playing that same role for someone else's child. It's been a few weeks now. No more texts from her. No more awkward voicemails or fake apologies. No new drama. Just silence. And honestly, it's been peaceful. But every now and then, late at night, I ask myself, did I go too far? I mean, I exposed her to her mom, her boss, her side guy's baby mama. I aired everything. Publicly. No filters. No warnings. Some people might say I overreacted. That revenge doesn't solve anything. That I should have just walked away and let karma do its thing. And maybe they're right. But here's the thing. I didn't do this out of spite. I did it out of truth. Because the version of me she described to that man, the doormat, the joke, the emotional weakling, that wasn't me. She painted me like a fool and laughed while doing it. So no, I didn't want revenge. I wanted reality. I wanted everyone to see the mask fall off. Not just for me, but for the other people she lied to. Her mom, her coworkers, that child's mother. All of them had been affected by her deception. They deserved the truth just as much as I did. And yeah, maybe I could have handled it with more grace. Maybe I could have just walked away quietly. But I didn't, because I'm not her doormat. I'm not her side character. And I sure as hell am not the joke. So if you're asking whether I regret it, no, I don't. I lost a relationship, but I found my spine. And I really hope, that one day she finds hers too. I didn't hear from her mom right away. After I sent the screenshots, I expected a call. A message. Something. But there was nothing. Just read receipts. And silence. Which honestly, hurt more than I expected. Because here's the part one haven't said yet. I really cared about her mom. We weren't just on good terms. We were close. I helped her move into her new house. Packed boxes. Lifted furniture. Sweated through my shirt in the middle of July. And not once did I complain. Because she felt like family. And back then, I thought that made me family too. So when her daughter was sneaking explicit texts to another man, while I was carrying her mom's couch up 2 flights of stairs, something in me just broke. I didn't expose her out of spite. I did it because her mom deserved to know what her daughter was doing behind closed doors. And eventually, a few days later, she texted me back. Just 2 words. I'm sorry. That was it. No follow-up. No defense. No rage. Just quiet, heavy acknowledgement. And maybe that was enough. Maybe she couldn't bring herself to say more. Or maybe she didn't know what to say. I never replied. Not because I hated her, but because that version of my life was over. The one where I called her Mom too. The one where we shared holiday dinners and inside jokes. I had to let it go. Still, part of me hopes she saw her daughter clearly for once. And maybe, just maybe, she finally realized I was never the problem. After everything went public, I didn't just lose a girlfriend. I lost the illusion that everyone around us had my back. First, it was quiet. Then I noticed it. One friend I used to game with every weekend unfollowed me on Instagram. Another one, who always joked about how we were couple goals, left my story unseen and never replied again. People weren't choosing a side out loud, but their silence, that was loud enough. I wasn't expecting a parade or some Team Me campaign, but I did expect the people who knew us, who saw how much I gave, to at least acknowledge the truth. But some of them didn't want to get involved. Some were afraid of drama. And some, I realized, were only there when it was convenient. That was a hard pill to swallow, because betrayal doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with quiet exits. People you thought would defend you, just fading out of the picture. But here's the flip side. A few friends did reach out. Friends I didn't even think were that close. One sent me a voice note. "Dude, I saw the story. That was brutal. Proud of you for standing up for yourself." Another messaged me. "I always had a weird feeling about her. You didn't deserve that." And suddenly, I saw it clearly. Sometimes pain doesn't reveal your enemies. It reveals your real friends. The ones who stay. The ones who see the truth and still show up. That part, that helped me heal more than anything else. After the smoke cleared, after the text stopped, after the last friend either unfollowed or doubled down, I hit a wall. You'd think exposing her would feel like victory, like justice. But really, I just felt empty. The adrenaline was gone. The anger was gone. And I was left sitting in my apartment, staring at the same couch where she used to fall asleep watching trash TV. I wasn't okay. So I did something I'd never done before. I signed up for therapy. It wasn't easy. Wasn't instant relief. But it was real. And the first thing my therapist asked me was this: what part of yourself are you trying to protect? I didn't know how to answer. But over time, I started to realize I wasn't just angry because she cheated. I was angry because she made me feel replaceable. Like I could give her everything: love, loyalty, support, and still be treated like a backup plan. And I hated that. Not just what she did, but what it made me believe about myself. That I wasn't enough. That maybe I deserved to be walked on. That maybe I wasn't worth fighting for. But that wasn't true. And therapy helped me see that. It helped me understand boundaries. Helped me recognize emotional manipulation. Helped me stop mistaking bare minimum effort for real love. So yeah, I lost her. But I found something better: clarity. And once you have that, it's a lot harder for someone to ever play you again. The thing about people who get exposed, they rarely just take it. They rewrite. They spin. They twist the story into something that makes them look like the victim. And that's exactly what she tried to do. After I posted everything, after the messages went out, after the story circled through our friends, her job, and her family, she went into damage control mode. First, she wiped her social media, archived all her photos, posted a cryptic story. Sometimes people will go to extremes to ruin your peace. Classic deflection. Then came the indirect shots. Tweets about toxic masculinity. Quotes like hurt people. Subtle but loud enough that I knew exactly who they were for. And sure enough, a couple of her friends, people who barely knew me, started resharing her stuff. Comments like, "You didn't deserve that. Some people are just immature." Sending love, like she had been wronged, like I was the problem. Not the guy she cheated on. Not the one she lied to. Not the one she mocked after getting caught. It blew my mind. She was trying to control the narrative. After I had literally posted screenshots of her own words. But here's the thing about truth. Once it's out, it doesn't need defending. I didn't clap back. Didn't subtweet. Didn't call her out again. I stayed quiet. Let her spin her little story into a web of lies. Because deep down, she knew. And even if she convinced a few people she was innocent, she couldn't convince herself. If you've ever been cheated on, if you've ever felt like a placeholder in someone else's life, like your love was just a backup plan, like your loyalty was a punchline they joked about behind your back, then I want you to hear this. You are not weak. You are not worthless. And you are not alone. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your sense of reality. It makes you question who you are, what you deserve, and why someone you loved could treat you like that. But I'm here to tell you, it's not your fault. Their choices are a reflection of them, not you. And yes, you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to feel hurt. You're allowed to fall apart for a while. Just don't stay broken. Because here's the truth I learned. You don't get stronger by pretending it didn't happen. You get stronger by facing it, feeling it, growing from it. I'm not the same person I was before she cheated. And honestly, I'm glad. Because now I know my worth. I know my boundaries. And I know that next time, I won't settle for someone who makes me feel small. So if you're still healing, still hurting, still wondering if you'll ever feel okay again, you will. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. And when it does, you'll look back just like I did and realize this wasn't the end of your story. It was just the chapter that changed everything. Direct hit call to action. If the story hit you deep, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Or share your own story. I read every single one. And if you want more true stories like this, about betrayal, revenge, healing, and growth, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.